Yes. It is the Castworthy podcast, and we are back at you. It is Sunday, March 27th. I am Big Steve, aka Last of a Dying Breed, on the Twitter machine. Here today with one EJ Stewart. Uh, Sometimes savage, sometimes not, depending on the day. Just the two of us today. We could make it if we tried. No VP today. He had some prior engagements, but he did send in some of his extreme Democratic bias political thoughts. So we'll be sharing that later on in the show. A lot to cover today. Lots been going on. Haven't talked to you in a couple weeks. I was out 2 weeks ago. You were out last week. How you been, man?
Man, happy to be here, brother. The world is on its head. The good northeast weather. Just last week, contemplating wearing shorts. As you can see right now, I'm in a hoodie and a scully. It's cold. It was snowing the other day.
I had some audio issues there. I couldn't hear you. I heard the last piece you said the other day.
Oh yeah. I'm saying in this good old northeast weather.
Ah,
Contemplating wearing shorts last week, and this week.
little
It
cold front.
snowed yesterday, and it's a little cold
Oh
right now.
shit! What's
I
today?
got on the scully.
We're going into April, and y'all still dealing with that yo-yo shit.
Yep. I
Yes,
don't remember it being like this too much back in the day, man.
it's
Climate
just a little,
change.
little climate change. Not crazy, right?
Hmm.
Science isn't real. Um,
Not at all.
yeah, it's late March, early April, and we're still kind of, I mean, it's warm. Don't get me wrong, it's Florida, but we had like yesterday, I think we topped out in mid to high 70s, which by this time normally we would be looking at 90s a few years back, at least when I first
Right.
moved here.
Right.
Um, so next week we'll get into it. We start getting into 85, 89. We get, I think, our first 90-day projected Thursday, but it doesn't look like it because it looks like we're gonna get rain Thursday, Friday, Saturday next week, and Sunday rather. So that 91, we may not even hit that.
But it
So
doesn't matter. Isn't it? I mean, isn't the mindset that it doesn't matter how what the weather is in Florida, as long as your governor is DeSantis?
listen, man,
Every day is
the
gonna be shitty.
right, the climate here. Um, yeah, I talked about it last week. Florida is a shit show. Tennessee though, it's crazy. It's crazy. I know you've been multiple times, but that is the true Trump Republican county up there, like or state. It's that's the land. Um, but yeah, Florida. DeSantis is just a piece of shit.
Sheesh.
Like he's just like he's like the hugest piece of shit ever. Like it's crazy. Like I think I dislike him more than I dislike Trump.
Yeah, I think you got to. I mean, you know, for all that we've said about Trump, I mean, he's had his moments where he wasn't as bad. You know what I'm saying? Like not
Hmm.
as bad, but he's bad. But DeSantis is like on a governmental local level, he's been horrible. Just deliberate with it. You know what I mean? Trump has at least he's incited some things and done a lot of things and pushed the envelope. But even there seems there were lines that even he wouldn't cross where DeSantis just doesn't give a shit. You know,
Right.
4 years, years later and years later. So
Yeah. Like direct impact. Of course, is different because he's at the state level, but yeah, I mean, just some examples for those that would be like, you just hate him with no examples. Um, you got a bunch of high school kids and college kids that pop up, at an interview that he's at, for something, and he's like, take those damn masks off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, that was
Like,
nasty, man. Just berating kids and That was just
Yeah.
nasty.
Then you know that week or two where the not a bunch of Nazi organizations were out here quote unquote protesting. But they were starting shit with people driving by and people walking by, and they weren't in like rural areas. These motherfuckers was in Orlando, Florida, where fucking Disney is, where the mouse is. And he's like, oh, we're not gonna allow them to spin the narrative of blah blah blah. It's not a narrative, dog. Like these niggas is posted up, like basically saying, hey, kill these certain people. These people don't belong to share the air that I breathe, and you don't condemn it. Like that's a problem, dog. That's a
Yeah,
problem.
and that's the part that I said. Even Trump would have to say something in the least bit. You know,
Yeah,
even if he's lying, he's gonna say something. Y'all governor boy, sheesh.
yeah. When the shit happened under Trump, at least he was like, and it's bad, but not as bad. At least he was like, there's good and bad people on both sides. You know what I'm saying? At least he acknowledged that there was some bad people and shit. But not DeSantis. He's just like, nah, dog. Y'all not gonna spin this politically on me. Shit.
Nothing to see here.
Yeah, we good. Those are just people doing their thing. Like, nah, that's not how it works, bro.
Right.
Shit's crazy, man. Shit's crazy. But it's yeah, it's still nice weather. Obviously COVID is over in Florida. In in most people's minds, like I'd say probably everywhere I've gone in the last since I came back last week or so. Um it's like where's the masks? Like people look at me like I'm crazy. Like, yo, you got a mask on? What are you doing? Um
Yeah.
and I'm like, remember before? So you remember pre-COVID, like when you go to the airport, you would see like an older Asian lady or just a person walking through the airport with a mask on or some shit, and you'd be like, "Hey, yo," you know what I'm saying? Like they must have some shit. It's almost like that here again. Meanwhile, we talked about it. Spikes. We're seeing spikes in other places, and a new variant that still hasn't made the news because, of course, Ukraine is there. In the news, that is. So as maybe Ukraine starts to, if it starts to die down, then they'll take that opportunity, the news that is, to oh, COVID's back, new variant, but we saw it online, and it said that it was spreading rapidly in New Jersey, and then you had the record highs over in was it
UK and
yeah, UK. I think it was also, there was an Asian country as well. I don't remember exactly which
yeah,
one.
I know China was locking back down.
Yeah,
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 China was locking back down because the numbers were going up.
right.
But it's all according to the state. Because here in Maryland, in most places outside of Baltimore City, masks are not required, and you know you have a mixture. You kind of, when you're somewhere where the masks are still a big thing, you get that look like, dog. And then some people kind of then remember like, oh, I ain't really gotta have it on neither. But then it's kind of like, let me have it on or off. When I'm around somebody, let me take it off. I mean, when I'm not around somebody, let me take it off. When I'm around somebody, let me put it on. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a thing, man. And I don't know that we're ever gonna get on the right side of this thing, not because of the science, but because of the politics. Like you were saying, off mic. Our president is like, yo, it's all good. You go back to work.
Hmm.
Corporations are like, yeah, it's all good. Back to work. We're gonna do it this way. And are we really on the right side of the science, or is it about the business? What's really going on? Not to
Yeah.
mention that we start pulling refugees from Europe.
Oh, whoa! Don't pack it all up into one suitcase. We got a lot to unpack. Um, Conveniently, your boy have already disappeared this week, but
We got some
yeah,
heat.
you're right, man. You're right. Listen, man. I go on record still today to say that you know the political choice that was made for Biden, at least for a lot of us, was specifically because we knew, especially me, and I said this from the beginning, I knew that this guy was the only guy that could get Trump out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because of his association to Obama. Was he the best candidate? Maybe not so much. And we're seeing, right? I think there's good stuff, and a lot of people know that there's some good stuff being done. But yeah, there's lots of opportunities, man. I mean, you mentioned a few of them, right? And so let's talk about it. We talk about the COVID piece kind of being not a thing. You know, it seems like it's gotten worse since the State of the Union when this guy got on there and was like, "Hey, get everyone back to work. Let's get our people back to work." You know, and you got Vari and the Dems and you know far lefters basically saying, well, it's, you know, because, you know, there's large corporations losing money and it's expensive and blah blah blah.
We need it for the economy.
Right. But you know, but you got, you know, I read a story of a lady, you know, and realistically, anybody that's anybody knows that you're gonna get more productivity from somebody that's at home. You're gonna have the one-offs that are pieces of shit that are gonna be sitting there playing video games and doing shit that they shouldn't. But if you have a good worker is gonna be a great worker from home because they don't have a commute, because they don't have to cut their work short on a Friday because the day's coming to an end and they want to get home at a reasonable hour. They're already home. You know what I'm saying? So the logic behind it is not that great. And you talk about you know, corporate real estate being a thing. Okay. Um, well, gas prices are extremely high. So the timing for that is terrible, right? You say, no, corporate real estate is suffering. What about, you know, the American people that are suffering, that have these amazing gas prices that they're dealing with, you know, um, and then try to undercut it. Oh, it's only an average of $4. $4 is a lot a gallon, dog. Like we've gone almost double, right? I've gone to a point where, you know, filling up, where if you have a physical budget, the price of gas has made you change the numbers in your budget,
Right.
right?
Yeah. And
So
the other thing about it for me has always been, right, when you swirl around all of the American issues that the everyday citizen faces, right? Whether it's high taxes in an urban city like Baltimore, New York, DC, where the crime you're getting, the infrastructure, the trash, everything is out of whack. And you're dealing with the local municipalities that just do whatever they want to do anyway. Then you have the working people that decided at one point, I wanted to get college educated because this was an American dream. And we always talk about, you know, you got those like VP that say, well, no one told you to get these loans and be irresponsible. However, we failed to look on the higher education side where these institutions looked at these people's backgrounds, looked at these people's incomes, looked at these people that in their education on financial aid and gouged them with prices and tuition and allowed people to take all of these things that they know they're not gonna get back. You know, if you're not a neurosurgeon, there's no reason why someone should have been allowed to have so much debt. And we know this is true. And we know that minority students have been prey to that more than anyone because they don't have the family education and experience to have avoided that. And when you look at the facts that people talk about, the average day American doesn't have 1,500 in their account to save. You know, the debt to income ratio across the board is here and there to where people are struggling check to check. We talk about these things in the scheme of politics as usual. It's just what it is. It's how it goes. It's inflation. We live in a country where the American people are supposed to live this life, this world, this thing. And sure, if you've made some decisions and things like that, you might be better off than the next person. But a lot of people are in a state they really don't have to be if our government just stopped benefiting who it's always benefited. And it's on both sides. You know, we get mad at the Republicans for the things that they do, but they're deliberate about it. Even when they lie to their base at least feels good even though they're,
Mhm.
they're getting it with no Vaseline. They at least feel good on the surface. You have the other side of us, those of us who have voted, for the left our entire lives. We haven't got a win yet. We
Right.
haven't got a damn thing that we could take to the bank that tangibly, as an everyday citizen, can feel good about. I don't care about the other things anymore. I don't care about knowing all of the political ins and outs and turns and all of that. What does that do for my everyday life? And then when you bump gas prices up, like you said, now people have to go back to work. What is that? What are you spelling out for the people?
Everything. Gas prices, food prices, milk is up. Everything that is anything is up, right? Fast food is up, right? Because the cost of gas is up, because truckers now have to be paid more, right? I mean, things like that, all of that stuff, this inflation, um, it's controllable, right? And there's things that can be done. Maybe you can't directly impact gas. Maybe you can't snap your fingers and say drop drop gas by 5% or 10% or whatever. But you got countries like Canada, right? Where Canada is like, listen, throughout COVID, these motherfuckers are like, yo, don't go to work, don't risk it, we got you. Australia, no, we got to get through this. Y'all ain't got to work. You don't got to work. You don't got to pay your mortgage. Don't worry about that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Just stay home so we can get through this. Not us, not the United States, right? And then you get caught between a rock and a hard place, so that I can respond to what you said. You got the Republicans who, again, like you said, we've always kind of been on the left because you're stuck between the right, who is openly lying and openly bullshitting and openly racist and openly fascist and so on, right? And you have the left, who they're just tucking it under, and they're making us these blind promises that we don't see, and the promises are getting worse, right? And now we talk about, oh, I'm gonna do so much for black people. If you a vote not for me is a vote for not for black people, like type shit. Uh, the student loan aspect, you talked about it, and people say, well, you don't have to be irresponsible, and no one told you to take student loans, and blah blah blah, and that's great. But the aspect that people don't recall, or ever they never discuss when you talk about student loans, is when you get a student loan for a semester, your cost for that semester, all in with books and everything, might be, let's say 2,400. We'll just say 2,400 and use that as a round number. The student loans are sending you 5 grand. The company sends you 5 grand, and they're like, well, here's this extra, right? Just in case. You know what I'm saying? And what do you think people are going to do with it? You think, the average person is going to take that 1,600, put it to the side, and say, you know what? When it comes time to start paying this back, I'll give the 1,600 back, so I don't have to worry about that in the long run. No, most people, if they have to take the student loans, are in a position where they need that 1,600 anyway, right? And then they're dropping interest on it, and then you get into you know politics, the political side of it, where it's like, well, yeah, I'm gonna take care of that. I'm gonna knock this out, right? And you got, in one party, you have some people that are like, dude, get rid of this shit, like make this happen. You know what I'm saying? And then you have the guy in the party who it's almost like, pause it,
I,
pause
I,
it.
I could do it, but I don't know that I really can do it. And
Right.
that's the bullshit for me, where it's like, yeah, we understand that. First of all, let's think about it. There's a generation of people that have these loans that had no real education. Like the stuff that they made you go through and sit through, it was nonsense. It didn't work. It wasn't what it was supposed to be. And we know there's such things as predatory loans. We know all of this stuff. And
Clearly,
the
one
other
of the
reality,
largest companies just lost a lawsuit to that.
and the other reality is you're not recovering it, bro. Like you're not
Right.
recovering it.
Right. And
Just
it's worse.
take it
It's
out.
worse because, yeah, one, you're not gonna get it, right? And people like to compare it to other stuff. But when you compare it, the difference here is the government has the ability to garnish wages for this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like
Which
it's
does what? You know, how
right.
how does that then help your economy? How does that then help your bottom dollar for your citizens? You know,
Hmm.
and again, we up until now we've been given the political rhetoric the same bullshit every year. You are now the guy that we the people put in that said you would do something about this. You heard the Bernies, you heard the Elizabeths, you heard all of these people, and you said, you know what? I hear you. I'm gonna do this. You know what I mean? So at some point, when are we the people, by the people, for the people, gonna get what's necessary for the people,
Right.
regardless of
And
everything else?
right.
Because you can then send $1 billion in aid to Ukraine. I get that there's a war going on, there are people dying and suffering. But you know what, too? And this may be extreme for so many people. For 500 years in this nation, people like you and I, literally 500 years plus, literally have had war waged on us.
This yeah, we still
You
do
know,
today.
you know, Germany is still paying out reparations to citizens. Are
You want
where we can't even get the George Floyd bill passed.
right. You talk about that, and then when it's so evident when you look at how Ketanji Brown was treated this week, right? Like these are people that are at that political level. These aren't fucking. This isn't the store owner down the street. This isn't the gun store owner down the street. That's pulling up and asking questions and interrogating. These are fucking elected officials that are in there and being very very like adolescent about it, right? And I get it, man. I get it. This you can't blame Biden for the actions or anything like that, right? And that's not what I don't think that's what the plan is here. But yeah, you take $1 billion, you say, hey, we're gonna take in 100,000 Ukrainians. Hey, that's great. Thanks, America. Good job. I support it 100%. I don't say don't do it, but if you got $1 billion for that, then you could find $1 billion. You had a lot of time before this war to find $1 billion for Black people, or 10 billion, or 13.6 billion, which was the amount previously, I want to say, that was sent over, for infrastructure and war and stuff like that. So now we're towing a $15 billion line of money that has been found miraculously. The same government that was saying we were running out of money, right? And again, don't let it be misinterpreted as we don't think Ukraine deserves it. We absolutely do. But because they deserve it doesn't mean that we don't deserve it as a people.
Yeah, I just want to know, because again, at what point do you really reinvest in your people? I know America, in comparison to a lot of other nations, is better off, governmentally. We don't have to deal with the things people in Mexico are dealing with, where,
Mhm.
cartels are just killing innocent people day to day to day without repercussion, without anything. States in Mexico, governments, are pretty much under the thumb of cartels, and citizens are hurting, and people are trying to flee. It's just like we have humanitarian issues all over the globe, and I said this before. It just seems that when the hue of your skin tone, for like, as they used to say back in the day, your ethnicity is at the forefront, it's a whole different conversation. When Haiti has had its political issues, when nations in Africa had their issues, and there were refugees from here and there. We just can't do it like that. We just can't. But when something else happens to someone else, it's no question. And I just look at it, just and like VP always says, to his credit, he says, the everyday citizen is gonna feel some kind of way. And how can you not, when all you keep getting is reasons why things can't happen? This dude literally went on the Breakfast Club and said, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. What have you done for my black vote since you made it that way? You made it that way. Obama didn't make it that way. And Obama was the black guy. He didn't
Hmm.
even make it that way. You,
Right.
the 70-year-old plus white man from Delaware, said to us, if you don't vote for me, you're not black.
Right.
Well, what does that got us?
Yeah. Where's the policy that supported anything direct to black people? I don't doubt that there's some great things that he's done during the time, and I don't doubt that he has, the American citizens at you know their best interests at hand when a lot of decisions and policies are being carried out and things like that. But you can't target, or clearly you can, but you target a specific audience and you say, hey, I got you, and all you've given us is a Supreme Court judge, which doesn't impact us in any way, right? And a vice president
It does. It does.
who
It
we
can.
haven't seen.
It
Well,
can.
no, 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 no. It doesn't directly impact us. It'll
Not
impact
on
us in
not on
the
the everyday
right.
thing will it hit us all the time. Maybe not.
Right. It moves us forward as a nation, absolutely, right?
Right.
It creates, it creates opportunities. It, allows, people that look like certain individuals, young black women, young black girls to look up and say, hey, I can one day be, but the
Yeah, and
ultimate
hopefully it also, impacts different decisions. Hopefully, her impact will have, you know, her position will have impacts
when
on different
when
if when the time comes.
when the other side ages out, right? She's 50. We probably won't see that until she's 65. And that's only if they can somehow, continue to keep a Democratic president in there so that when these people die, they can appoint somebody who has, the right head on their shoulders versus Amy Coney Barrett getting put in there. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
shit like that. Like,
Let me ask you this question, because we often talk about the strength of the Democratic Party, and then we also always talk about the lack of energy and passion and dedication and consistency of the voter base. Do you believe that if the Democratic Party had just the everyday citizens that align with that party, if they had more everyday wins to take to the bank, that they may be more socially active?
yes.
Because when Obama was elected, we had an everyday movement. You had the Jeezys, you had different people that
Mhm.
mobilized the people in the streets to believe that something would be different, change would come, and a lot of good things happened. But
Yeah.
after years of empty promises, to your answer of yes, when are we going to make that correlation that you keep telling these people that they're going to get a loaf of bread, and you keep giving them the end of that loaf and nothing else?
The butt of the
The
bread.
butt of the bread. What do you think is going to continue to happen?
Yeah. No, I think you're spot on. I think that's a huge piece that people don't realize, and Vari's big on that, right? VP will always say, the Republicans show up. They show out for their people. They're always there. They stand in line. The election doesn't stop after it's complete, right? They understand that midterms are important. They understand that in between, elections, you have to be involved, and Democrats just aren't, right? And we aren't. We're not. The Democratic Party is one that is supportive of, you know, more so the poor, right? And we just can't. We don't have the time to. There's a lot of single parent homes. People are at work. People are working 2, 3 jobs, right? What are you doing to make it to where these people don't have to do that, so they can put this time in, so they can go ahead and be an advocate to the party, right? What are you doing to make, to your point, a Jeezy or someone pop up and say, hey, get out there and vote, or Diddy?
Yeah, and that's the thing, connecting with your base. Doubt to me, and I always say it. You know, President Obama's biggest one of his biggest reasonings, not reasonings, one of the biggest reasons he was so effective at winning and getting people behind him is that he comes from a community organizing background, knowing that boots have to be on the ground. Like, I look at some people that I know all the time that have great jobs. I mean, one dude is a partner in a corporate firm before 40 years old, making tons of money. And to his credit, he's getting a lot of black investors to invest in this part of the city that has been forgotten, all of this good stuff. But I always say to him, and look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You can preach that stuff to the people that have the base of the pyramid all figured out. But dog, you can't talk investing when Shorty can't read. You can't talk investing when Shorty don't know where the next meal is coming from. Sure, you're now 5% of friends who have six-figure salaries, who have multiple degrees, who may not have multiple degrees, but have some money. But what about the masses? You know, I live in one of the most violent cities in America. What if we really had something in place, not only on a local, state, federal level, that ensured that these people that live in these areas are not killing each other for space that don't belong to them? That we don't have this opioid epidemic, that we don't have all of these things. When you don't take care of the people's basic needs, what are you going to get? And Obama knew that you had to put the boots on the ground. People had to see that you at least cared to hear what they had to say. And oftentimes, what happens in our party, in the Democratic Party, you only see them once a year and you don't see them again.
Yeah. Yeah. And you also have to um people have to feel connected somehow, right? You have to build some type of bond, right? And Obama started the tradition of the March Madness bracket, right? Trump tried to break it. He didn't do it. And then initially Biden didn't do it, right? So you had the 1 year where COVID was there and they didn't play March Madness, so he couldn't. But then last year he didn't do it at all, and so this year he did. So kudos to him. But why did he, right? Is it reactive? Are you doing something reactive because your numbers are down and you need to get yourself back out there and you want people to feel like you are human? Are you looking at, damn, maybe this did help Obama, help Barack when he was in there, create a bond of sorts with younger individuals, younger voters, people that are actually paying attention because they go to these colleges and they're going to be a voting age or are a voting age, right? Like you want to be able to pop up, you want to be in these people's eyes. They're not going to pay attention otherwise. They're all partying, right? Most of them. But that one period of time where they're rooting for their school and they're watching and they're paying attention and they see your face pop up on the TV, they can say they have something in common with you. I have something in common with this 78 or whatever, 74 year, however old he is, year old man, who I have yet to learn that I have anything else in common besides the fact that we own a dog, or whatever. It just, if you're not going to do, you got to be present. And, it's the same as, listen, the president of the United States is like a parent. It's like being a parent. It's like being a father, right? You got to be present. Like even if you can't be in the house, your impact has to be felt. And in order for you to keep those votes, in order for people to go to bat for you, in order for people to get out there and pound the pavement, in order for people to organize shit between elections and say, hey, let's make sure we keep this thing going, right? People have to feel that impact. People have to feel it. And right now, I don't even think his own party is feeling it, right? And then when you have your own party not feeling it, and then you have the other party really slandering the fuck out of you, whether the stuff is valid or not, legit or not, it makes it that much harder. And this is going to be an uphill fight for this guy.
Yeah, I mean, and we saw it with the efforts of the VP. When Kamala was running, the movement with the Chucks. Like, I haven't heard anything about the Chucks since. She leveraged her her sorority affiliation, to tap into the fraternities
Nasty.
and the sororities, and rightfully so. You know what I mean? She earned that right to do so some 30 years plus ago. Um, but it then just becomes politics as usual, becomes white noise. And I always say this: I mean, call me crazy, call me too much of a science nerd, but we're gonna come into a time where none of this shit is gonna matter. Because when you have such a lopsided uh disparity of wealth in this nation, people are gonna get sick of this shit. They really
Hmm.
are.
Yeah. No, you are a nerd. But yeah, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. There's gonna be a day where it's gonna be the haves and have not, and we're seeing it. Like we're seeing it now. We're seeing the haves and have nots. People are like, oh, the inflation is a sign of a great economy. It's economics 101. You don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's a great economy. Tell that to people in California that are robbing people on the side of the road in broad fucking daylight. Tell that to them because their gas is $6, $6.50, $7. Oh, well, the nation average is $4. Okay, that's fine. Well, these people live somewhere where it's $6.50 and $7, right? And their mortgage or their rent has skyrocketed, right? For a one-bedroom apartment. Tell that to them. We're not there.
Yeah.
It's the haves and the have-nots, and you see that there, and you're bound to see it anywhere else. New York too. Same shit's happening in New York. Sure, these are places where prices are just historically high, but the inflation is just not helping, especially when you're not doing anything to help the people that are being impacted directly by that inflation.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the homeless numbers in the city, because our city in Baltimore has historically had you know just high numbers of homeless population, and it just seems like more and more as I walk around, like every day I walk to the train, uh there's just more and more tents, just people just burrowing themselves in parts of the street that overlooks a highway,
Hmm.
um and just with tents. I mean, just tents. And I went, yesterday to my mechanic who was talking to me about this 84-year-old dude who's just living in his car the last 3 years. You know, um, Part of that, who knows what's going on? Because if you're 84 and you're by yourself, there might be a lot of things behind that. But I just wonder at what point, and it's like we can't have it both ways. We can't say the government needs to be that father, that ever presence that has control when the states are out of control, right? But then you can't say, well, we're the government. You got to pull your bootstraps up. Can't do
Hmm.
everything for you. And
Right.
everybody's not asking for everything, but some shit make it make sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the homeless piece it's huge. It's huge. I'm seeing here even more than ever as well, right? And of course Florida's going to grow. It's warm. If I'm homeless in Delaware in the middle of the winter, like you said, it's cold as shit.
It's
How
cold
do
as
I
fuck.
get south, dog? How do I get out of this shit? I'm not standing outside. Um, but I can only imagine those numbers are high, right? And they had that hold on banks putting people into foreclosure. Imagine if they hadn't done that, right? But most of these people that are being impacted are not people that have mortgages. They have rent to pay. And the people that have the mortgages are going to take advantage, and we're going to see it spike, right? Because the people that have the second homes and the third homes and the rental homes, they're not
Hmm.
paying their mortgage right now. And when that shit turns and they're like, hey, listen, you motherfuckers got to start paying, they done put that money away. They're going to put it away as long as they can. And once they foreclose on that home, hey, by the way, you're going to have to get out because this ain't my house no more. Like, we're going to see it spike. It's going to be nasty. And the government and the supporters of the current party, including us, can't live by we put a ton of money back out there. Yeah, you put $1,200 in a motherfucker's pocket. You know what, 1,200? I could spend 1,200. It's like, like it's nothing. Most people can look at their phone right now, open two apps, and spend $1,200 to get caught up on something. It's not enough. It's not enough. Do more. Do better.
Yeah,
Um.
absolutely. You have people in the party that are saying, we got the means, we could do it. Do it. You know what I mean? It's that real. It's that real.
Let me we've been a little bit bipartisan. Let me pull VP's. He sent us his Minute. And I'm gonna go ahead and read through this so that people kind of know what took place this week on the front, that we might have missed in the ways of since we
Frustration.
were being frustration because we were being a little a little different. All right, so real quick, this week, Ketanji Brown Joackson had her confirmation hearing in the Senate Judiciary Committee. Republicans accused her of being a terrorist sympathizer to a proponent of child pornography and sexual abuse. Her nomination even still should be voted out on 328. Senate Majority Chuck Schumer said he wants her confirmed by 4-8. If confirmed, she'll be the first black woman to serve on Supreme Court, which we knew that.
Shout out to her.
The big thing here is Joe Manchin got on board, because if he didn't, it would have been nasty. Biden returned to D.C. early Sunday after a 3-day trip to Europe. He met with NATO allies, members of the European Council, G7. U.S. troops are now stationed in Europe and met with U.S. troops stationed in Europe and visited Ukraine refugee camp. Past week, second gentleman Doug Emhoff, Kamala's husband, basically tested positive for COVID. VP is fine, and I actually did see that on the tube, and they said he was asymptomatic anyway. Republican Governor Spencer Cox vetoed a bill that would have banned transgender girls from playing in girls' sports. In his statement vetoing the bill, he noted that Utah has 75,000 high school athletes, of which 4 are transgendered. VP says bill was a solution in search of a problem. Election year culture, war bullshit, and I'm glad he vetoed it. So he was on board with the veto of that.
Which is interesting from him coming. Well, no, it's not interesting.
No, I think he's been.
He's been on that side of things.
Yeah, I think he's been neutral. He's been very neutral when it comes to that.
Well, that's because he has a 13-year-old son.
Because he has a 13. Well, yeah, but he played. I mean, he plays a sport that
it isn't really.
Well, I guess you know what. Let me not say that, because
could.
TJ is a big boy, and if he started getting into and he's a great bowler, and on the boys' side or men's side, if they were to put him on the girls' side or women's side in college, he would, or in high school, he would be number one. So
PBA money.
Yeah, you're right.
Know what I mean?
You're right. But
somebody like me with 3 girls.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So that's and you think about it, right? They're not. It's not like it's like, well, yeah, okay, let's just do it for non-contact sports or anything like that. But when you're talking about like wrestling, like if I had a daughter, dog. If your daughter decided she was going to be, or one of them decided they were going to do high school wrestling, and she gets to, let's say, a state championship, and in that last match, you see this 6'4" fucking person stand in front of, man, basically, stand in front of her with a wig on, and they're like, well, here you go. Like, this shit, it just, nah, dog. No, you gotta be. It is, yeah.
And the most recent thing that sparked that, was obviously, the swimming,
the Olympian
controversy. Yeah,
was he an Olympian or was it just a college kid? I had it all pulled up.
Yeah, I know the rankings. I know his rankings as a male
number one
significantly low, and now number one as a in the ladies category. But I mean, this is a real thing, man. And
Leah Thomas.
Yeah, it's a real thing in the sense that there are people on sides of things. There are people on sides of these issues that don't live in the real world. There are people that are arguing one thing, that aren't impacted by the everyday things that happens with this. And for those people who've had daughters who were training their whole lives and had to go through this, what impact does that really have on them? And so because you believe one thing one way, how it impacts the rest of the world doesn't matter.
Right.
I just don't at some
See it.
point these things were in place for a reason. People keep talking about maybe one day we'll get, an NBA player, a woman to play in the NBA and the NFL. There's a reason scientifically they're cisgendered men and cisgendered women, meaning, you subscribe to the idea that you were born of a specific gender and that there are scientific differences.
Right, and
It's
it's
just
not
what
an
it
idea.
is.
It is what it is,
It's just what it
and
is.
and that's the frustrating part, right? Science matters with climate change and everything else, but science doesn't matter when it comes to gender, and that's frustrating. That's a frustrating conversation. It makes it hard to support a party. It makes it hard to support certain people and have, certain people's backs. Like, I get it, man. I get it. We want to be a sympathetic and empathetic people. We want to be a sympathetic and empathetic party, and that's fine. You can do that without risking certain things like the safety of young women or young girls, right? Like, it is what it is, man. The science says it. The anatomy, if you know anything about human anatomy, like, bigger, stronger, faster. I think the only muscle that women have that's probably uh stronger than a man. Don't make that face, EJ. I was gonna say their brain. You're thinking their tongue.
I didn't know where you were going, buddy.
I was
I
saying
had
their
no
brain.
idea.
Their brain. Is their brain. They're smarter than us, right? But because they don't get caught. But
Talk about it.
but physically, right? I mean, it's just, it's always been that way. There's nothing that says otherwise. There's nothing that says
Yeah,
otherwise.
why do we need to why do we need to I don't know, maybe we're dinosaurs. Why do we need to just wash away everything?
Genders.
you know, right? Like, and it yeah, I don't know.
It's
And the
so
battle for equality isn't
right,
hasn't the landscape hasn't changed so much,
right. And
especially if you're black.
it's such a political thing that um Ketanji had to deal with a question like that. Define what a woman
Define
is.
women.
Like, she shouldn't have to deal with that.
She shouldn't be.
She couldn't even sit up there because it would have been a political, it would have caused a political outrage if she would have just said me.
Dog.
Like
I wake up
like
every day.
right. I bleed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I bleed. I'm a woman, like, but it's so, like, everything has to be political, and the focus is just on the wrong spot, man. It's in the wrong spot. We got to
It's
stop
nasty.
focusing on that bullshit. Stop focusing on, oh, well, how are people going to feel about it? You can be accepting, you can be supportive, you can be empathetic, but take that energy and put it into supporting Black people just the same, or people just the same. Poor people that are struggling, people that are not being able to do it or put it together right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. We tackle so much other shit, but mental health and homelessness and this was something that I think VP addressed. Like, okay, everyone's gonna not that someone's not gonna be happy. Like, yeah, you did away with student loans. All right, what about homeless people? Yeah, what about them?
Yeah.
Because we're supposed to be this world power where everything is so wonderful. What about them? Even the forefathers, as crooked and bad as they can be, they made it very clear that, and of course this was hundreds of years ago in a different world, but they made it very clear that your people are the most paramount thing to your government.
Hmm.
And we've lost that. I mean, the greed, the corporations, the money washing over the families with generations and generations of money that have really made this world go. We've just lost it. We've just lost it. And I I always say it ain't gonna never change until aliens get here. And we always joke about that Key and Peele skit. How even when that happens, we still gonna be some black people.
Right. Aliens gonna get here and be all women. All right. There was one last thing that I had there, but I don't remember what it was. But we kind of beat Joe up
I don't
pretty
care.
good this morning, and I don't care about it. I'm fine with that. Tell me why men don't get to enjoy anything. Men don't even get to listen. Let me tell you something, though. Men don't get to enjoy. Men don't even get to enjoy their vacations, their paid time off, right? And that, when I say vacation, I don't mean vacation that you take and go to, right? I'm talking about vacation like your vacation time. We're all equals. Nobody ever says to a man, "Hey, you've been working really hard. You need to take some time off," right?
Mm-hmm.
But a woman, "Hey, you look really tired. You should probably take some days off," right?
Hmm.
Women say that to each other all the way. It's a double standard also, right? If a woman walks up to another woman like, "Man, your eyes, your eyes look a little heavy and tired right now. You should probably take some time off." Oh, gee, thanks. If you walk up to your male coworker and you're like, "Yo, your eyes look a little tired, a little sleepy right now," right? There's one or two answers. Not you saying I'm smoking, or niggas, you gay? Get out my face. Like that's how it goes. We don't like. Why do we still live in a day where
Where this coming from?
if we're not defining genders, um, why is everything so double standard like that? It's not coming from anywhere. It was just I was driving talking to a friend of mine,
Mhm.
and they were like, "Hey, I'm off work today," and I'm like, "Well, what you doing? You
Oh
playing some
yeah,
game? Like,
errands,
you
all
play
crazy.
exactly. You're
Errands,
playing
all
some
crazy.
games. You're getting your car washed. You're going. You're gonna go to a restaurant, have a lunch or something. Nah, I got errands. I got this to run. This one, I got to do this. I got to do that. So and so asked me to do this, that, the third. Like, we don't even get to enjoy a day off. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to sneak. Like men have to sneak and use a vacation day, get dressed, act like they're going to work just the same.
You know what? I tried to be devil's advocate on this, but there's a lot of truth to what you're saying. And I think that, of course, that's household by household, relationship by relationship, etc. Right? But I can honestly say that generally, painting a brush across the family men I know now, even from what I even now, when I take off or something, I get a message like, "You're not going to work. What's going on?" So it's like I get that. I get that, and it is a double standard for men.
Listen,
And we're
if
speaking as black men because
if
I
you're
can't culturally speak about the other side.
if you had a vacation day and let's say one of your daughters were sick and it was the day for your daughter to be with your daughter's mother,
Hmm.
you're going to want to take your daughter, but the expectation
I get it.
from her mother, even though she already had a plan, right, whether she was going to take the day off or have her go with someone else or whatever that looks like, the expectation is going to be, EJ, well, you're not going to work, you ain't doing shit, how come you can't come get her, right?
It's happened. It's happened a lot. Yeah. Has
this is
happened a
this
lot.
this is what you live through. This is what we live through. And it just made me, I'm driving in the car, I'm talking to a friend, and I'm like, yo, we need to start planning some time as men to hang out and chill, because we're not getting any younger. And one thing we always say that's undefeated, one of two things, is time,
Right.
right? And time waits for nobody. You don't, that's the one thing you can't get back
Yeah.
is your time. And before you know it, you can lose somebody that you just haven't spent time with, right? And we just got to start making time for ourselves and putting everything else on the back burner. Whether, and I'm not saying family wise, but I mean like work, like shit like that. Like I think men still feel like they have to be super successful and they have to put their foot into everything, and they have to be the
Put
provider,
themselves
right?
second. Put
Right.
themselves second. Yeah.
Rightfully so. But there has to be times and days where where you take for yourself.
We
So that's
like
my
I
message to the kings today.
Yeah, like I always say, and this is gonna tie into something else associated. But like I always say, we are that generation that we live in that space where we're old enough to remember, excuse me, we're old enough to remember how our fathers or our uncles and grandfathers, how they carried that, the world is on my shoulders thing. And then
Hmm.
we're now young enough now to know that, hey, that shit isn't right. And we often talk about, I just did something with another pod talking about estate building and all of that, and black men are checking out faster than our counterparts.
By
And
far.
we can't say that it's all about obesity and physical health, because that isn't a proven fact. Men are checking out because of stress, anxiety. All of these things are going untreated because we still have this caveman mentality. And the comment is right. Why don't we support each other? Because historically we haven't been taught that this is what we do. We don't talk to each other. We don't, we don't talk about our feelings. We don't unpack things. And unfortunately, if you're in a situation where that isn't a welcome open door thing, or it isn't a priority in your household, you're gonna suffer from it. But
The only
I
person that truly cares about what a man is going through from top to bottom, 100%, is their mother,
and historically
right?
for a long time that has been true.
And
For
I'm not saying that's spouses don't and stuff like that, but I
It's just
think
different. It's just
it's
different.
different.
It's just different.
There's no love for a man like a mother's love, and I don't think anybody truly understands we need that time. You know what I'm saying? Because me specifically, I'll say it, like I'll be ready to snap. You know what I'm saying? Because I've always taken everything on my shoulders.
Yeah.
Whatever, whether it's now, whether it was 10, 20 years ago, you know what I'm saying? I've
Hmm.
taken it on my shoulders. I don't show that shit. Nobody ever knows that I'm stressed or angry or frustrated. You know what I'm saying? If you talk to
Hmm.
anybody, oh, I can't even see you getting mad. Yeah.
I know when you are. I know when you are, because I feel the
Yeah, because you're
backlash
the
of that
one that
shit.
probably created it.
Yeah, I feel the backlash of the bullshit. It's funny, not to give spoilers away, but I finished season 2 of Top Boy, and note that for bingeables. But the main character, one of the main characters, Shane, you see this play out. You see this element play out in real time, and it's just stress. This dude is physically fit. He's on top of the world. He's got all the money, and he doesn't realize it, but he's having heart attacks because he's
Oh
so
shit.
stressed out. You know what I mean? And I it's funny you said this, because I was watching that show and I was just thinking about it, and something happened. I can't remember. Oh, I know exactly what it was that happened recently. This weekend I had to take the middle one to this Saturday school early in the morning, and this whole Saturday school thing was foreign to me, because for the last 5 weeks we've been doing robotics. So I'm like, okay, obviously the Saturday school piece hasn't fallen when I had her. But it was the fact that I got notified about it less than 24 hours. So it was just like, fuck what I got going on. You
Hmm.
know, that it pissed me off so much. Not even in the essence of having to do it. It was just that if I bitched about it or complained about it, it's gonna fall on different deaf ears. The kid is gonna suffer, whatever it is. So I just said, you know what, it is what it is. But it had me so frustrated to the point I had to calm down, to where I physically felt bad.
Hmm.
And I realized, man, we as men, and specifically speaking about black men, um, and just say men of color, because that's what we our range of thought comes from that. You know, we got to do better. We're at an age and we're in an age now and a time where we know that this stuff matters. Mental health, taking days. When you go to get your hair cut, cut your phone off. You know what I mean? If you can, ignore messages, man. I remember years ago, me and the homies, we would cut the whole workday, and we would hit the strip club and get shit faced by 5, and no one would know. And you know what?
Right.
We would feel great about it. And you're right. I literally remember acting like I was going to work, changing the clothes in the parking lot. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? And just doing what you got to do. And it's a
And
real thing.
an outsider looking in will think that's disgusting. You guys went to this. No, that's therapeutic. That was
Oh,
therapy.
shit. I mean, nowadays there's more women in the strip club than men.
Right. Man, I don't want to. I don't want to
But
go into
but
that.
but speaking into one of the topics that I had briefly, this guy, we've killed him on this pod because of this incident I'm going to bring up. But he specifically said we have to start gearing our mental focus towards protecting black men, and that's one good old Tory Lanez, who
Oh,
is, we killed this dude on this pod. We supported Meg the Stallion 100%, from the shooting incident and all of that kind of stuff. But now it's getting back into the forefront because there's a lot of talk right
truth
now.
is coming out.
There's a lot of talk being said that this whole thing was a lie, that she lied on this dude. Drake, Rihanna unfollowed her. You got Whack 100 out here saying he has evidence that the truth is going to come out soon. Uh, and we killed that dude on this pod. We killed him, and we still don't know everything that's happened just yet. But it is gonna be nuts for several reasons if the truth comes out that this was all a lie and was slanderous on this man's name. And it will speak to the larger issue that if he was innocent and none of this happened, who then speaks for black men? Who then protects black men? And I was looking at the Math Hoffa podcast, and they were like, yo, honestly, at the end of the day, because he's a black dude, no one's going to care after a couple weeks. But if
Yeah.
this is in fact true that she lied about it, the fact that someone's son, someone's nephew, someone's cousin, someone's grandson was able to be vilified for 2 years for something he didn't do, can have that happen to him in America, it's pretty sad. And that shit bothers me because it's that Emmett Till effect, Everyone wants to mourn and cry when something happens at the end of the day, but did you ever really listen? Did you ever really value this person's life? Or did you take the first chance you could to throw the stone? And I mean, shit, we were guilty of it because we did it here. But just something to pay attention to. It's nasty. I mean, it's nasty if this is what the case is. But that's the thing trending right now.
I think we're reactive. We're reactive by nature, and the optics that the media puts out is what creates that. Right. So even going beyond Tory Lanez, the same thing with Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson was killed. And sure, he made it out right now. Like this 230 million that he's gonna make. That's a whole right. It's different, but that's not every case, right? Let's say people were still standoffish and he didn't get another contract. And even still, they took a year of
Career.
his career away.
Yeah.
Took a year of his career away, a year of his life away, right? A year of stats. You know, a lot has been taken away from him. We don't know where his mental health is,
Yeah.
being slandered and dragged in the media as a guy who's some type of sexual predator towards massage therapists. You know, he could be sitting there like, yo, I've been getting massages all my life, my whole career since high school, college, whatever it looks like. And not near one person ever said I was, I was doing anything that was wrong. And I'm not. And I haven't been. And now, because this team found some people that are willing to get on board and take a payment to try and make me look bad, here I am. I'm not getting to do the thing I love, and I may never get to do it again. Luckily, he kind of made it through. Same thing with Tory Lanez. Tory Lanez had huge deals in the works, huge contracts in the works with YouTube and stuff like that he lost. Kanye West. Granted, Kanye is kind of self-inflicting some of this pain as well, because he doesn't know to shut the fuck up at times. But they're vilifying the hell out of him, right? And nobody, and here's the thing, I see them killing Kanye and making him this big, crazy, psycho villain person. We know he struggles with mental health. I didn't see nobody do that with Pete Davidson. When he posts a text of him saying he's in bed with this man's wife, you're mentally fucked up too, and everybody knows it. And that's where that came from. You know what I'm saying? And you're telling this guy, oh, well, the first thing you're not gonna do is call me and be like, hey, you're lucky to have this person as as the parent, the mother of your kids. Like, all right, dog, relax. First of all, relax, because this is the whole reason why I'm frustrated. You're triggering me. So they vilify Kanye. Meanwhile, Pete Davidson gets a New Year's Eve deal. He's going into space with these guys on the next rocket. There was another huge deal that I saw that he just recently signed. Right, he's still in the public eye on Saturday night, every single night, or every single week. Like, yeah, Tory Lanez has a point. Tory Lanez has a 100% point. They are vilifying the hell out of us. They're trying to take our, and I'm not saying Tory Lanez is a hero in any way, or, we'll call it legends. Kanye West, legend. Bill Cosby, a legend. R. Kelly, legends. They're legends in their own right. I'm not saying what they did or didn't do is right or wrong.
Not the same.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Not the same.
Michael Jackson, legend.
Yeah. I mean, we beat.
It's magnified, is what I'm saying, right? I'm just saying they're magnifying it, because you still got Woody Allen, right? Elvis. And this is why I say, you know what I'm saying? You look at R. Kelly a certain way. You look at Cosby a certain way. But you all right with those two. We don't hear that. Only time you hear that is when a black man gets caught up in some shit like that, and then black people have to bring it up and be like, hey, hold on. Let me tell you about this.
Yeah. That's the world. That's the world that we've been in. Wrong is wrong, but that's the world that we've been in. And I get it.
Yep. Let me see here. Oh, you gonna listen? You a hoe, and you out in the streets still. So
no, I'm not.
Which one?
No, I'm not. Just one.
You about to take this male birth control? You got your prescription?
Man, listen. What?
You about to be bloated?
What in the fuck? Well, maybe I could start to get some. Never mind. Nope, not gonna say it.
Go ahead.
No, I mean, what I keep seeing the memes. I keep seeing people talking about it. What in the fuck is going on? What is going on? I thought we always had male birth control, and they called it getting it snipped.
Condoms. That's not 100%, but damn.
Male birth control.
Allegedly, they have a pill that can be used as birth control for men. The question to me is, just like anything else, you don't know any of the long-term effects, right? Someone might take this shit and then decide, maybe you get married to somebody in 5 years, and now you sterile. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Now you can't have kids. Now you can't start a family like you might want and like your wife might want. Like you don't know. Like this shit is crazy. Why ain't gotta fuck? Why they gotta change shit? Like stuff is already laid out. Like we got a layout of how this works. Put a condom
we got
on.
line of defenses.
Right. There's tons of it. Put wear protection of some sort. If you're really that worried about it, as a woman, you can take whatever steps and measures, and even as a man, if you're that worried about it, there was, invasive ways, like a quick snip.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, it's not reversible, but still, like you, all this is gonna do is raise STD rates
When in doubt,
because
pull
a
out.
dude gonna be like, yo, I'm on. You don't need to put this on. Look, here's my prescription. You know what I'm saying? And now, oh, men are spreading this at a remarkable rate. You know what I'm saying?
When
Then
in
it's our
doubt,
fault.
when in doubt, you must pull out.
What that mean?
I think OJ said. I think Johnny Cochran said that or something. No.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I think he was talking about your hand out of the glove or something like that.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe he said something totally different. I don't know. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It seems like again that this is one of those things that is more politically motivated and more to the tune of gender equality, or not even, I don't know. It just seems like there's another agenda around this because they've been talking about this for a long time, and it just seems different. It just seems
Yeah,
weird.
I haven't read through
Good
it, but
luck.
I'd like to. But I mean, listen, if it turns out to be realistic and a viable solution, then it's
Good
great.
luck. Good luck.
For-
You're not getting
You
me to
know,
do that shit.
imagine, dude, imagine how many weekends you would have been able to go out and not have to strap up.
You're stupid as shit.
And how
You're
many are
stupid as
to
shit.
come where you would not have to strap up or make that damn, hold on, let me run to the store real quick.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
they're trying to help single men.
But you know what, too? That STD thing was always that was always weird to me because I always wondered how much people paid attention to how these things work. Like I would always overhear conversations where people be like, like, nah, we not going raw in sex, but then you have unprotected oral sex. Like you do know you can still pass it through that, right? I just never understood that. I never understood that logic.
Yeah, I think, listen, in the heat of passion, it's hard to be responsible.
Sure.
It's hard
Forget
to be
about it.
responsible in the heat of passion.
Forget about it.
You
Forget
have
about
to have some serious restraint. Um,
it.
yeah,
Forget about it.
I'm glad I don't have that problem. So you
Mhm.
all right, let's transition a little bit off of all of this stuff. Before we get into, I guess we can segue into sports a little bit.
That's what
Brittany
we got.
Griner.
Mm.
Um Brittany Griner is still being held in Russia. She was
Hmm.
found with what they allege to be
Cannabis vapes.
cannabis vape cartridges. I don't even think she had the actual vape to smoke it. I think she just had the cartridges, which is even crazier that they would hold her this long for that. And I think was it Cheryl Swoops? No.
Lisa Leslie.
Lisa Leslie came out and said she was told not to speak on the injustice that she's dealing with, that Brittany
Brittany.
Griner is dealing
Yeah.
with.
She
How
she basically
nasty is
said the
that?
WNBA community. She basically said it was hearsay from someone else. She's basically saying like, hey, we having water cooler talk, and somebody was like, hey, they basically saying to us, as a community, not to make this a huge social issue to fuel Putin's agenda against Brittany. And to me, it kind of makes a little sense, because if this became a movement, if it became a hashtag, if the black community got involved, this now puts pressure on the government that we know really ain't gonna do shit anyway.
Mm-hmm.
and Putin, and there's not a lot they really can do. Um, but Putin does get a victory from that. In many conflicts over time, you know, government nations have utilized black people as a pawn. You saw it in Vietnam. You saw it in other areas where they realize the atrocities that this nation still puts us through. Granted, they still treat their black people like shit too. But it's America, right? They've had a way in trying to turn the microscope onto America to show that they're not much different than other places. And the logic here is saying, if you guys make this thing a thing, which many people may feel they need to do, they're gonna feel like that Putin is really going to hit her with and treat her as a political liability of his agenda. And I get that, because there's not really much you can do. If we start a hashtag, we start a movement, it ain't nothing you could do, dog. I mean, when you in Russia, it's a whole nother world, man. Like uh
Yeah.
it ain't Florida State Prison. It ain't no, it's
There's
Russia.
not. There's not. I agree with you. There's nothing that we can do. There's nothing that the government's gonna do. Right? Governments, and they're not gonna be able to apply enough pressure for the government to be like, hey, we need to start some type of special operative to bring home Brittany Griner. Right? You know what I'm saying? But don't silence these people. Right? They have
Mhm.
their 100% right to be supportive of a coworker. Um, and that right, they're still coworkers, right? They work for the same company, WNBA. She's a player. They're employees. They have absolute right to say, hey, we need to bring her home. How can we do this? Support for, justice for, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they're saying, oh, let's go out and burn cities down for Brittany or anything like that. But you're silencing these people, and it's just they should be able to voice their opinion on that situation. We all know that nothing will come from it. Nothing will come from it. But these large brands, these corporations, NBA, WNBA, NFL, they seem to be really trying to save face in areas where they shouldn't be. You're saving face here, and on the other side, you're saying, well, we need to start to make sure that we have inclusion and diversity and inclusion
I don't think it's
conversations.
the same though. I don't think it's the same. I think they're cautioning people from a political standpoint because this is a different animal. This isn't police brutality. This is something that's a lose-lose situation. I mean, they're saying she's being treated decently. Who knows that if we make this thing a hashtag, do they now throw her in, an isolated cell with no anything? You don't know. It's a delicate thing. I don't think and I think it's, again, this is secondhand information. It's not necessarily that it came from the WNBA. It just seems like that WNBA community consulted with someone, and the general rule of thumb that they were given was this information. Not that it came from the league per se.
Mm, I don't know. I still think you do yourself worse by telling people, hey, don't don't talk about this. Don't feel for this, right? Don't make any type of statement or whatever that looks like. Again, we don't know the full ins and outs of it, but I can't see Lisa Leslie getting up there and exaggerating, right? Just like she was an extreme advocate for Kobe Bryant when he passed away, and people were like, oh well, what about this and what about that? Like,
Again, it's not the same thing though, Steve. It's not
no,
the
no,
same.
no. I'm not saying they're the same situation. I'm talking about her character as a person,
Well,
right? So when I
she's saying not that she don't she again, it's not coming from her words. It's not coming from a league view per se. It's just people close to that community kind of just advising them, I guess, when they're reaching out to someone and they're asking like, hey, what should we do about this? It could be from VP, could be from political correspondent, could be from anyone. They're just saying like, y'all kind of want to caution, err on the side of caution on this because you could make it worse.
they should, but they shouldn't. They shouldn't. They should say, "Hey, listen, proceed as you will. Proceed as you will."
And they
It's
might
not
be saying that.
again, again, it's not like they're, it's not like she made mention of saying anything about starting protests or anything like that. But you shouldn't don't mute people on their thoughts and their views, especially on a situation like this. Whether and it
Oh,
doesn't matter that Brittany Griner's black, she's American. She's American. We're Americans, and sure,
I
she
get
chose
it.
to go over there. She chose to be to play for their league and stuff. But injustice is injustice, whether it's here,
It,
whether it's
it ain't the same though, because we're not dealing with we're not dealing with an animal that gives a shit. Like that, we's talking about somebody who's bombing, children's hospitals, and it's a different beast. And they're not saying don't say anything. They basically, from the tone that she gave, was like, yeah, y'all can do it, but it could cause more harm than good. And knowing Putin and his agenda, I think that was pretty sound advice for the time being. You know, um, the U.S., I think an ambassador did go, meet with her, etc. But it's not a lot that we can do, man. And like you said, we're not gonna have a covert, SEAL team mission to get out of there. I mean, even though now we may be able to question Russia's forces and all of that, but yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Where's Hawkeye and Black Widow when you need them? But yeah, it's tough, and hopefully she can get out of there, man. I would hope that the club that she plays for, at some point would have influence on that, you know. But then
this
again,
dude. But this
it is
dude don't
Russia.
care. It's
Then again,
it's
it is
Putin.
Russia.
This dude don't care, man. He don't
Yeah,
care.
he's checking his food, man, because the people over there don't want this war. They don't want this thing,
Yeah, he don't
but
care.
that's
He's
how they run the country.
That's the difference. But he's willing to die for this shit. He like whatever, if I lose office, like that's the difference between America and those dudes. Like he's
Yeah,
one of them. Him, Kim Jong, them dudes. Like I'll die for this. I ain't worried about losing. You're not gonna take office from me because if you
right.
try, right? Like it ain't like here. Like we vote on the shit. Like I might if I do this, I might lose office. They might vote me out. Putin like vote. Okay, you, you know what I'm saying? Like that's it's a different.
Exactly.
It's
It's a
different, man.
different animal, man. So
Um,
yeah, I think just got to be supportive to those ladies that are close to her, and just keep hoping that whatever justice they have over there, it'll prevail.
I have an unfavorable opinion here, but I was watching yesterday, and NCAA women's March Madness is more entertaining than the WNBA,
That's always been true
like
to me.
by far.
That's always been true to me.
Like
It's
it's
always
not
been
even
true.
close.
The problem with the WNBA for a long time is the distribution of players. They're top. When you want to talk about a top heavy league, that's the WNBA. The same teams are in the damn finals and the playoffs all the time, and I don't even know how that works. But yeah, I mean, well, shit. I mean, you can argue that the NCAA men's tournament is more exciting than the NBA has been.
I don't know about that, but um, wait till LeBronia shows up.
Hmm.
LeBronia James playing for the Los Angeles. What are they? The Sparks? I
Yeah,
don't know what they
LA
are.
Sparks. You're
LA
horrible.
Sparks.
Yo, we gotta
Crazy.
blame Joanna Man for all that.
Facts,
S-
indeed.
Started a long time ago. But
Um.
going back to NFL, man, we ain't dig in.
So, catch me up. I know Marquez Valdez Scantling also decided to leave and go
So
to.
wait a minute. Wait a minute. So last pod, we didn't know where Deshaun Watson was going. Y'all didn't know where he was going. Now we know he's in Cleveland, right?
I think we did know, did we?
I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe he did. Maybe he did.
Yeah, we talked about it because we were saying, where's Baker gonna go?
Ah, that's still a question. Where is Baker gonna go? That's
So
still a
there's
question.
so let's start there. Let's start with QB, right? There was a move today, or I'm sorry, this past week. Um, Matt Ryan ends up in Indy,
Mm-hmm.
which we kind of called that
Yeah,
last pod.
VP definitely hit that.
VP hit that on the head. Pause. So that leaves a vacancy in Atlanta. Um,
You
does
think Baker would
Atlanta?
go to Atlanta?
Well, I don't know that it's his choice, right? It's
Yeah,
it's a
it's
it's
not.
a it would be a trade.
Right.
Um, if I'm so let's say if I'm Cleveland, right? And let's say I really do think Baker Mayfield has talent, can potentially get better, and be a force. I would absolutely consider getting him over to Atlanta if Atlanta's interested, because I get him out of the conference, send him
Yeah.
to the NFC. You know what I'm saying? Um, so yeah, I mean that he could end up there.
And another thing to VP's point, it was like at that point in time, and me and him talked about it on the previous pod. All of this talk about moving people, who do you replace him with? So Atlanta, you have a huge question mark right now. You're now going into battle with no viable starter. And are you saying that you're going to take a chance on the kid from Pittsburgh or the kid from Liberty, who a lot of people are very, very high on, but this kid is a rookie, and I think Atlanta football, I mean, has been mediocre for a long time outside of that one Super Bowl. I guess if you're Arthur Blank and company, you do try to rebuild, and this is the perfect time in that division. You already know it's Tom's division as long as he's there, right? That team ain't gonna last forever. New Orleans is in disarray. They got
Mhm.
Jameis coming back. Michael Thomas wants out. Kamara's probably gonna have to sit for who knows how long. And Carolina is shit. You got a great shot at coming up on them. So if you're Atlanta, do you now draft a quarterback?
Did Carolina end up getting a quarterback?
No, they still got bum ass Sam Darnold. They're saying Sam Darnold's gonna be their starter. And I love it. Love every minute of it.
Yeah, I mean you benched him twice last year. Maybe, yeah.
He's a bum.
Maybe they look at Baker. I don't know. Like I'm trying to think of the other teams out there that could use a quarterback now that would be the starter today. And I've gone through the divisions aside from Seattle, who it sounds like they're gonna roll with homeboy from Denver,
Lock.
Drew Lock.
Yep.
Denver. Wait, where was I? Seattle. Seattle's good. The Rams are good. Arizona's good. Who's the last one in that division?
In the NFC West.
Yeah, Seattle, Arizona,
Why do we always have brain farts on
the
this stuff?
Rams.
Uh, shoot. I can't think. Arizona.
Oh, Oakland. No, not
No,
Oakland. Oakland's
AFC.
AFC.
Who the hell is in
Um,
the NFC West?
the Rams, Seattle, Arizona. Fuck.
I cannot think to save my life. Oh, gotta Google it. That's
Yep.
horrible.
So AFC West, you got Oakland. While you do that, they're set. Oakland, you got
San Francisco. Jesus Christ.
oh yeah, San Fran. They're good. They got two
They're
quarterbacks.
good. They got Jimmy.
Um, so then you got Oakland, you got Denver, you got um
In the AFC West,
yeah, AFC West. Oakland, Denver,
San
Chargers,
Diego.
and well, Los Angeles. And that's another one that I always forget about too.
Denver, Oakland, Denver, Vegas, San Diego, and Kansas City.
Yep. So they're good,
That's what it is.
right?
AFC East, Buffalo,
Good,
Jets,
good.
uh, Miami,
Miami's
debatable.
not good, but I don't see them trading for Baker.
They got to ride with that. And New England, they got their game manager.
Yeah, they're fine.
AFC North,
Uh, Pittsburgh
Pittsburgh, but they're not gonna trade.
in
They're
the
not gonna
division.
they're not gonna trade in the division. Plus the asking price is the other thing I was saying is an issue. But they're
Yeah.
not gonna trade in the division.
So Pittsburgh,
Uh
Baltimore, the Bengals, and Cleveland. So they're all good.
AFC South,
Um, AFC South, you got the
Tennessee's good. Colts are
Tennessee's
now
good.
good.
Colts are
Jacksonville's good.
good.
Who's the quarterback in
Jacksonville's
Houston?
Houston. Well, that's the thing, right? So Houston doesn't have a quarterback, but they also didn't put Baker in the deal. So I don't know that I don't know that they're
True.
interested, right? Because they could have
True.
easily that for Cleveland, it makes sense.
Yep.
Get that money off of their books. So I don't that's the only reason I don't think they would be interested, right?
True.
Um then you got the NFC South, which Atlanta's the only one that we can really say, and Carolina,
The
unless they're
quarterback.
going to really roll with him.
They're gonna try to keep Sam Darnold as a starter because they gave up too much to get him.
NFC East, the Giants could probably use him, but they won't. I think they're going to roll with Jones. Um, Washington has a quarterback now, right?
Who they got?
Damn it, who did they bring in?
Oh, Wentz, right?
Carson Wentz. Yeah,
Yeah.
Washington has Wentz. Cowboys are good. Eagles are debatably good.
Right.
At quarterback with Jalen Hurts.
That's it, dog. We ain't missed
So
nobody.
so now, well, we missed, but we're fine. Those other divisions like the Bears, Green Bay,
NFC North.
Detroit, right?
Nah, golf is
They're
they
gonna
gonna
roll
take
with
Baker
golf,
over
right?
golf. Nah,
And Minnesota just extended. Um, so
Falcons
so you got
looking
the
like it.
Falcons, or check this out. I know Vari keeps saying it's not a thing, but it keeps popping up that Tampa and Miami were in talks to send Brady there, right? Now let's just say that happens and they don't put Tua in the deal, right?
Mm.
Maybe Tampa targets Baker, right? Because I think Baker, with the right coaching, the right system, and the receivers that they have in Tampa, running game and the defense, they're not winning, right? I don't think they win the Super Bowl, but he could be serviceable. He could be serviceable. You just got to make this guy not be afraid to throw the ball. And if you have a
Mm.
Mike Evans and you have a Chris Godwin and a Gronk or whatever, they got 17 tight ends over there. Um, you know, and let's say they bring Landry in or something like that, right? As
Mm.
their last wide receiver or something, because he's still out there. And they're familiar with one another, right? Well, he could do something. And
But
either
why?
way, I
What is the incentive for Tom to go to Miami? That's
I
the
don't
part I
know.
don't understand. Why would he? It makes zero sense to me.
I don't know. I mean, the makeup isn't horrible, right? They have a good defense. They got good corners.
But
They
he's
could,
got everything he wants. He's got carte blanche. In Tampa, they've already done it. They've already got the recipe.
no,
They were
I
a
agree.
couple pieces away. It makes no
I
sense.
agree. I agree. It doesn't make sense, but a lot of stuff that's taking place this off season hasn't made sense,
Stranger things have happened. Yeah.
right? You know,
But Atlanta, you got to think about it too. Atlanta might be looking to draft a quarterback because they're in blow up mode. They have nothing. They
yeah,
have
they don't
no
have shit.
one. They have
No
nothing
running back,
offensively.
no
The only
wide
thing they got
receiver,
is Kyle Pitts. That's all they got right
right?
now. They got Kyle Pitts and Cordero Patterson, which are two good cornerstones.
Yeah,
And
Cordero's old though. He don't
I
got
think
much
I think
left
they
in the
go
tank.
offensive line first round, but they might take the kid from Liberty because you got Calvin Ridley is that's a dud now. So You know what I mean? Like, who would Baker even throw to? And the other thing is the asking price. Cleveland wants a first round for Baker, which come draft day is going to go to about a third, maybe fourth. But Atlanta, you got to be thinking I'm in blow up mode. I'm in rebuild mode because they ain't got nothing going on. Plus, again, in 4 years, when Tom is actually finally done, that division is still gonna be where it used to be years ago. It's gonna be trash.
Yeah, yeah. I think if I'm the Giants, I'd start to really think about it and consider it because I don't think Daniel Jones. He's not a good quarterback, man. He's just not.
I mean, yeah, I think your NFC East bias has a lot to do with that. But there's been games that he's performed, he's done well. They just haven't had complete teams, and you know how the NFC East is. And plus, if you put Baker in the midst of that New York market, he folded in Cleveland. I
But
don't
he
know.
didn't fold. He didn't fold. He just didn't perform. He didn't
Yeah,
perform. But if you put him in, Baker is that guy. He's Johnny Manziel,
but what
right?
do they have?
Johnny Manziel with a little bit more
But you're making my
showmanship.
case. You're making my case even better for me. In Cleveland, he had more than what he's gonna have in New York.
Well, New York has a good wide receiver core,
Bruh,
right?
bruh,
Slayton and those
bruh.
guys. They got
He had OBJ. Landry is what it is, and the running game.
OBJ was hurt.
New,
He was hurt a lot of it too.
New York
Um,
again. The same thing in New York. Those guys ain't been healthy. Not even the running back that they
right,
drafted.
right. But you would be going in there with them healthy. He'd be going in there with them healthy. He has three wide receivers there, and Slayton. Um, fuck is the other dude that's
Exactly.
always
Galladay.
Galladay.
Yeah,
Who
but
I think
all injury
he
prone
could stay
guys.
healthy.
All injury prone guys.
They're injury prone, but they're not injured, right? One could say the same
Not
for
now.
Odell. One could say the same for Odell. Odell is injury prone. This dude is
So
hurt
wait a
every
minute.
single
Wait a
season.
minute. Wait a minute though. Baker did have Odell for a good amount of time.
He was
He
five
had
games.
Landry. He had and they couldn't
He did have
get on
Landry,
the same page at all.
but
And he
but
had a
Landry's
running
not a
game.
number one.
And a
Landry's not number.
defense. And defense. New York don't have that. Their defense is up and coming. It might get good. But I mean, let's give Baker credit. He did win 10 games. But that Giants team ain't nowhere near put together as that Cleveland team. You said it last week.
Listen, Cleveland.
I think
Let's
you're
not
bugging.
forget. Let's not forget. Cleveland was one bad decision on defense and call away from potentially going to the Super Bowl when they gave Kansas City that play. Remember? And granted, Pat Mahomes got hurt, right? And they were playing against their backup, but still, it's principle.
There ain't nobody in New York that's giving them that,
There's
bro.
not. There's
That's why I'm
not.
like
There's not.
you're making it
But
worse. You're
doesn't
talking
matter.
crazy. You're talking crazy.
He's a better option than Daniel Jones.
You're talking crazy, man. Even if he is a better option than Daniel Jones, he's going into a shit sandwich situation. It ain't gonna be no
Well,
better.
here's the thing. Cleveland don't need him, so he's gonna go to a shit sandwich situation no matter what.
Yeah,
Right?
that's
So
the
where
case.
you're talking from the side of, is this good for Baker? I'm talking on the side of what teams could potentially make this move? Like who could potentially go ahead and take them?
But
And
it ain't good.
the
It ain't
Giants
gonna be
don't
good for the
think
Giants.
that the rest of their team is a shit sandwich.
It
They
ain't gonna be
clearly
good for the Giants. It's not. When you look at the Giants, they spent what they spent on Daniel Jones. They're saying, look, the Mara family's saying we're giving this guy growing pains. It would look bad for them to have wasted what they wasted with Daniel Jones, haven't supported him, haven't gotten shit around him. Okay, let's say that. And then Baker coming in with who he is in the New York media, he would not survive. He would not
it'd be fine.
survive. And
He'd be fine.
it would be a shitstorm for your team. I think your NFC East bias
Baker
is crazy
Baker
right
would be
now.
fine.
No, he
Baker would
wouldn't.
be fine there.
No, he
He'd be
wouldn't.
fine
No, he
because
wouldn't.
He's a showman. He's a showman. So he's gonna be in the media. He's gonna start dancing and shit when they win. He's gonna
Steve,
pop up at Knicks
Steve, I
games.
think we gotta ban you from talking NFC East. We have to ban you. You sound nuts. The Giants are better off riding with Daniel Jones for now until someone else, if he's not the guy in a year or two, they need to look to the draft or see who else they can get. They're better off trying to target a Jimmy G or someone else. Baker coming in, the Giants fan base would be fucking livid. That franchise would turn on its
So
head.
no, they wouldn't. But still, the Giants. You're telling me. So here, let's just talk about how bias works. So the Giants, you're saying
Mhm.
they're good with Daniel Jones, but you're saying anyone who touches Sam Darnold is trash. That's bias right there.
What that you created a whole nother narrative to a whole nother player. What are you talking about? Sam Darnold is trash. I
See?
would say
Okay.
I would say Daniel Jones is better than Sam
Point
Darnold.
proven.
Sam Darnold is trash. I would say Daniel Jones has been more successful than Sam Darnold has.
Point
Like
proven.
the fact.
I've proven my point.
No, you haven't. You're not making any sense. Baker going to the Giants is a bad idea, and I think you're saying that because you would actually want that because that guarantees you about 6 or 7 more wins.
Nah. Um, Bingeables, what you been watching? You're muted. You're muted.
Bingeables. Been binging Top Boy, as I said earlier. But hold on, we ain't finished the league, man. You got Cheetah to Miami.
Oh, right. So Miami
Jesus
picks
Christ,
up
man. Let's go.
Miami picks up the baby beater. I don't like to spend time talking about him, you know that. Tyreek Hill went to Miami, they signed him. He punches his son in the chest as hard as he can. He's a football player, so fuck him. Hope he dies. Um
But what does that do for Miami?
I don't know it does much for them. I mean, so here's the thing. It's going to keep a safety and a cornerback honest on one side of the field. So maybe Devontae Parker can turn into the Devontae Parker that they've wanted him to be all this time, as long as he can stay healthy, because you have an actual proven wide receiver on the other side. The problem, though, is they're both deep, deep route guys, and Tua has not proven that he can be accurate deep or that he can go deep. Pause. Um, So I don't know that he has the arm for it. And Miami fans will say it's because he hasn't had the time with the O line that they've got.
Mhm.
So that remains to be seen. But even when he has had the time, his accuracy hasn't been good. I
It's
do
horrible.
like. I do think that helps Gesicki a lot,
Yeah,
because
it should.
you can probably move Gesicki back in and start using him as a true tight end. And that's probably what they were hoping. They were probably trying to build what Kansas City has, with a
Mhm.
really good tight end, Tyreek on one side, another fast wide receiver on the other side, right? And now they have something like 6 running backs. Like they just keep signing running backs. It's like they're just gonna pick. They're gonna throw shit at it and see what sticks, because
Mhm.
they have all the same running back. They brought in Chase Edmonds, who was the exact same player, if not a little less than who they had last year. Jesus
Can't remember. It
Christ.
doesn't matter.
Um, but they have 3 or 4 of the same running back down there in Miami. So I mean, I guess it could work, but I do think it does. It makes Gesicki a lot more attractive, because if he can live in the middle of the field with one-on-one coverage, or get linebacker coverage, oh my god,
Yeah,
he's gonna
it's
be
all
he
about,
can
like
do
you
well.
said, who's gonna get him the ball. The other thing about the league, you summed it up for Miami for me. The other thing about the league, watch this space, is Lamar Jackson still hasn't got a contract.
Mm.
Lamar Jackson still hasn't got a contract, which
He
is
doesn't have an agent, right? He
his
represents
mother.
himself.
His mother represents him, I believe.
Okay,
But I don't think that's. I don't think that. I mean, of
I know
course,
that doesn't have anything to do with it. I'm just
yeah.
wondering.
That of course that's always one thing that people always talked about. But in this instance, the question is, what kind of money is he asking for? Is he asking for the close to 50? Is he asking for the Josh Allen type deal, the 43-ish. What does he
or
deserve?
the guaranteed money, like and which is what he probably should do. He should probably go for the guaranteed money like Kirk Cousins, because as much as he runs and gets hit, we saw it this year. His body's going to start to break down unless he starts to find a way to try and stay a little more stable in the pocket. You know, he may not have those long years, and with that type of play, I gotta believe that the teams are gonna try and build verbiage in there to protect themselves from injury.
Yep, yep, and that's the thing. So that's definitely a watch this space moment. See what happens with Lamar.
Kansas City brought in Marquez Valdez Scantling.
To replace
Um,
Tyreek Hill. I think that's a beautiful move.
I think that's a pretty good move. He just can't catch. Um, that's his one problem. He had Aaron Rodgers who got him the ball all the time. He just couldn't catch the ball. But you pair him with Mecole Hardman, who they still have, who I
Hmm.
like, and they also brought in Juju. So I think Kansas City is getting a little bit stronger. Green Bay has not made any moves for wide receivers at all. Do you think Green Bay is like, let's go ahead and give Aaron Rodgers money and just say fuck you, prove that you're that good? Is that where they're at?
Yeah, you gotta be because you gotta think that they're gonna try to solve it all in the draft. And don't get me wrong, man, this draft has a lot of sleeper. It's a deep wide receiver class, but this is a lot to be putting on a rookie. And
Yes.
shout out to me, who I told the VP via chat that Devontae Adams was gone. There was no way he was gonna sit there and allow them to pull him around another season to take less money after you just gave Aaron Rodgers 50 million. I told him.
Yeah.
I told him.
And the thing with the drafts is you just really don't know who's gonna turn out to
Pan
be
out.
good, right?
Yeah.
You know, you now they have what they need to go ahead and do is probably get Aaron Jones up out of there. While he still has some value because they have AJ Dillon, who turned out to be very, very solid last year. Very
What are
good
you gonna
running
get
back.
back for him?
I don't know. But unless you're going to turn, you got. So here's the thing: you have one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game,
Hmm.
on your team. There's no way you're going to tell me you're going into the season with no wide receivers, no tight ends, and you're going to be a running team. Like you're wasting that 50 million or whatever you're
They
paying this
still they
guy.
still got Tanyan, right?
They got Tunyon. I'm not sold on him, and they do have one wide receiver, the kid that who showed up in the playoffs.
Yeah, yeah. But again, they obviously are placing a lot of stock on the draft. And unless they jump up, that's the other thing. I mean, you're gonna get some good guys in the first and second round, but I
Why
mean,
didn't they go after Tyreek?
I don't know.
Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has a fucking cannon. You know what I'm saying?
I don't see how they didn't get Allen Robinson either.
And I think he's more accurate than Pat Mahomes.
Yep.
Far more accurate than Pat Mahomes
It,
in
it,
my
it
my
really
opinion.
it really just begs the question: what are they really doing in Green Bay? And what does Aaron
Yeah.
Rodgers know that we don't know? Because supposedly
Alan
he was,
Lazard.
yeah,
Alan Lazard
supposedly
is
he
their
was
their
in
number
on
one now.
supposedly he was in on he was aware that Adams would be shipped out. Apparently, and
Unless maybe they're dealing him on the back end. Now that they
Aaron
have
Rodgers.
him now that they have him locked up, right? It's easier to go to a team and say, "Hey, I'm going to trade you this guy who already has a contract," right? Versus, are you interested in this guy who's already been a knucklehead to us, who may not sign with you guys, and now you might be stuck giving us your draft capital and then potentially losing this
But
guy
but then
as
the
well.
question still remains that we have with Baker, even though it's Aaron Rodgers, it's who really needs him that's gonna give away the farm right now.
Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh would go after Aaron Rodgers, I think, if he was out there, because you put him. It sucks that they lost Juju, but I think if he was in Pittsburgh,
Okay.
They
Now you're
immediately
talking.
become a contender,
Now
and
you're
then it
talking.
really makes that division. You got to think, right? If
Now
I'm
you're talking.
Pittsburgh, I would be calling them anyway because that whole AFC West division just got so strong that you're going to have to contend with. I know that's not your division, but your division got stronger too, right? With
Now you're talking.
you know, they got they brought Deshaun in, right? They brought in Aleo Collins to now protect
Joe
um
Burrow.
Joe Burrow. You know what I'm saying? And then you got Baltimore, who didn't they bring a wide receiver in?
I don't think they made any moves.
Okay, but
It's
they're still a standing
still
standing
Baltimore.
team
It's
in
still
your
a pain in
division,
the
right?
ass.
They're gonna
Right.
find a way, right? So if I'm Pittsburgh, and let's say, and we're speculating, right, that Aaron Rodgers is being dealt, but if he was, dude, if you can get 2 years out of him with a Mike Tomlin, with
Chase Claypool.
Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson,
I don't know they got a
uh
running back, but the
oh,
draft is
they do. Remember, they brought last year. They had the um the running back that had the most catches, damn near of any running back in a
not
rookie
Bell.
year. No,
Not
not
Bell.
no. Same last name as the dude in New England. Jesus Christ.
Johnson? Jones?
No, no,
You're trash. Your memory's horrible.
because I don't be knowing that we're getting into this.
The thing.
And you don't like to talk while I look this stuff up.
Well,
Oh,
Najee
Najee
Harris.
Harris. Yeah.
What guy
Yeah, they
in
got
what guy in New England has Harris that you were talking about?
it starts with a D. I don't pause.
You're trash.
Damien?
Yeah,
Damien
that
Harris?
maybe so. Yes, yes, yes. That would be a move. That would be a move. But again, you gotta assume that that's gonna happen. And the thing, like you said last pod, all of the accounts, these guys took Jordan Love first round. Are you really gonna be making room for this guy to now try to lead your franchise?
I think at this point you're talking about a first round pick. You either got to get him out of there or get him in there, right?
Yeah.
In Jordan Love, you got to get him out of there or you got to get him in the game because when the time comes, you're killing this guy's career. And we all agree that he wasn't worth a first round pick,
Right.
but he's getting first round money. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And by the time if you're not giving him that play time, by the time you have to, it might be too late. And you're not going to know what you have. He might be trash. If Aaron Rodgers, he's old now. If he takes a hit, especially in that cold, he doesn't have the route runners that he's had in the past. You could be in a situation where you have a quarterback situation, and Jordan Love either can't step in and get it done. Um, or he steps in and gets it done, and you don't have enough to get you over that hump now because you're stuck with two quarterback salaries, which is the same thing Cleveland's going to probably deal with, but they're solid elsewhere. So that's the difference to me.
The league, and I said this last year when we took Zach Wilson. I said this is a prime time for the league to recreate itself and the young gunners step up. And I'm happy that we have a guy, Zach Wilson, that can be a franchise guy one day, because there's a lot of pressure that's taken off. When you look around the league, the quarterback situation probably never has been so much in flux until now. This is like, it's nasty all the way
Are
around.
you are you mad that you guys missed out on the rumor? Are you mad that the rumor is saying that you guys missed out on Tyreek because they wouldn't give up the third pick
No,
but offered the eighth, I
absolutely not.
think, or the fifth?
No, we didn't offer any first rounders to them. And,
Oh, okay.
And by all accounts, it didn't seem like Tyreek would want to come to us, but we didn't offer any first rounders in the package. Joe Douglas, Joe Douglas fleeced Seattle to get that first rounder for Jamal Adams. We got a second rounder for Sam Darnold. Joe Douglas lives through the draft. I would have liked to see. I think he's still going to try to make a trade. I would be. I'm leaning towards Michael Thomas maybe getting traded to us because, like I said, much about Devontae Adams. Michael Thomas is not going to stick around. He's going to hold out. He's going to do whatever he can to get out of there. It was questioned whether or not he was healthy last year and could have came back. And he just doesn't want to be there. Drew Brees and Sean Payton are gone. New Orleans is going to take a dive. People forget how bad they used to be before Sean Payton got there. It's kind of like people just forget the history of these teams before some of these guys got there. And Michael Thomas sees the writing on the wall. He ain't gonna want to be there
They read up Jameis, right?
for 2 years. But I mean,
Okay.
he's a guy. He's a guy, right? That he's gonna be a company man. He's gonna give you all he's got. You might draft a kid, second, third round that might, turn out to be something. But again, that division, like I said, is weak.
Well,
Outside of Tampa,
I'm
they
thinking
got some
more about
talent.
I'm thinking more about Michael Thomas, and I'm thinking like,
No,
would
it's
with the Jameis there,
no,
he's going to give Jameis a couple games. He'll give Jameis 3 to
no.
4 games
The band is
before he
the
starts to
band
get
is the
vocal.
band is broken up, bro. Michael Thomas already was voicing his displeasure as things were going on these last seasons. And you got to think about it. Kamara now and his status is even more icing on the cake. It's even more. And you got to think if you're New Orleans, you got to be smart. Kamara's getting older. He's facing this bullshit that's going on. Michael Thomas has already said he doesn't fuck with y'all, right? Your division right now, this is the least pressure you're gonna face to have to feel like you have to compete in this division. You already know it's Tampa's division. You already know that's a done deal. Atlanta's trash, Carolina's trash. It's y'all and Tampa. This is the time now. If I'm New Orleans, it's a fire sale. Give me everything you got. I'm gonna build it because you got to think the other three teams in that division. They're looking at it the next 4 years. We got to rebuild for when Tom retires.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know how much longer Tom's going to have, and we say that every year. We say that every
Exactly.
year.
You gotta say at least the max 4 years. Let's just say the max 4 years. Look around the league, even in the NFC, it's the same old thing. Even in Arizona, Kyler Murray isn't happy. That's
Yeah.
another thing we haven't talked about. Kyler Murray isn't happy. You got the
Oh,
Rams.
Kyler Murray's a scrub.
You got the Rams. That team is only gonna be together but so long. So I mean, this is the most influx the quarterback position has been in the league. You don't know what you're gonna get all the way around,
Yeah,
except for a few teams here and there.
Pittsburgh needs to make a slam dunk play because they have everything except a quarterback, and I don't think they. I forget who the second person
Mitch-
was that
They
they.
got Mitch Trubisky now.
Oh, they got Trubisky, and they still have the Washington kid that was in trouble.
Or who's the dude that had the helmet thing with Miles Garrett? Can't think of his damn name.
Oh, but he's nothing. He don't matter.
Yeah. Yeah,
He
you're
don't
you're
matter.
right though. They need to make a move at quarterback. Unless they really believe, Trubisky's the guy. I mean, he did show some flashes, at some point. And you know how these teams think, we can coach a guy. We see the intangibles, we can coach a guy. Because he was in Chicago. He was in Chicago. Let's be fair. He was in Chicago where it was a lot of, it wasn't a lot around him. So
Oh, Atlanta signed Marcus Mariota.
oh really?
That's right.
When did that
That's
happen?
right. After they traded Matt Ryan.
Mm. So they're going with Mariota. Okay. That
Yep.
that looks good. I mean, he ain't gonna have nobody to throw to other than Kyle Pitts, but they're gonna be making some trades. Well, I mean, they're gonna be making some drafts at wide receiver. That's not bad. Cordell
Yeah.
Patterson, Pitts. It's not bad.
We'll get to see that see what Mariota is all about because in Tennessee, Tennessee he did okay, got a little bit of a raw deal,
Yeah,
and they
he's
pulled up
never had a fair trade.
they pulled up off of him pretty quickly, kind of short leashed him,
Mm-hmm.
so we'll see. And when the little bit of playtime he got behind Derek Carr in Oakland or now Vegas, he wasn't horrible, right? He
Nope.
was he was a game manager. And here's the thing for Atlanta, to your point, even if he sucks and they're thinking rebuild, all right, well, we're in rebuild mode. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? We'll leave this guy in there and we'll see what happens.
Yep. That's just great scenario. Great scenario.
Why is Tyrann Mathieu not re-signed yet?
That's a great question, man. I think it's a numbers thing, and a need thing, because the teams that can use him don't they probably don't want to overpay for him, i.e. the Jets. Joe Douglas is just, and I hope that he's right in everything he's doing. I know Matthew was a target for us, but Joe Douglas ain't gonna pay but a certain amount. And safeties at his age, the premier ones are getting 14, 15 right now. His age and injury status, well, history rather, he's teams are probably trying to give him 8 or 9, and he might be like, dog, I need more than that. So I mean, I think it's a watch this space kind of thing as the draft approaches. Because also you got Kyle Hamilton out there from Notre Dame who might get drafted early first round. He may not. So I think that's another thing. I think he's gonna sit for a little while until teams figure it out. All of those guys on that remaining list is some guys on that list that
There's a lot
teams
of
are,
them.
yeah, teams are waiting to see how things shake out.
They're waiting till it gets to the point where these guys are willing to accept, right? After the draft, season's coming up and they cut their price.
Need work.
I would love for Matthew to end up in with Dallas. Love it. Would love it. We
It would
absolutely
make
need it.
sense.
That's
It would make
that's where,
total sense.
dude, we need a safety. Like we've needed a safety for years now. But to your point, his asking price is probably high, and we just don't have money. Like we
Right.
restructured, Dak restructured. We freed up the money for Amari, but we also had to sign some other guys. We had to get Gallup signed to make sure we had some wide receiver depth. So we're but I would love for the Cowboys to get Tyrann Mathieu. I think he would be a great addition, but I know he's very expensive.
Mhm.
The other one in Pittsburgh is Dwayne Haskins.
Mm.
That was
Yeah,
the other one.
he's gonna be in
So,
QB purgatory for a while.
yeah. So I think Pittsburgh is thinking, well, we got these two young guys that both came out. Trubisky showed some flashes. Haskin
Mhm.
initially showed a decent flash, like for one game, and then
Mhm.
but they both were projected to be solid players. So maybe we'll be able to coach them up.
Yeah,
And
and you pretty much just got to compete, and you just got to stay competitive in that division because Joe Burrow just went to a Super Bowl.
Mhm.
And the comeback from that is going to be extremely difficult, barring injuries. So that's one thing you factoring in. And then now Deshaun Watson's in the damn division with a
Bruh.
team that won 10 games with Baker Mayfield and has a phenomenal defense. So
And added Amari Cooper.
exactly. So, if you're Pittsburgh, you're pretty much holding water for the next 4 years to see what happens.
Yeah. What you been watching?
Top
I know
Boy
you said Top Boy.
season 2, man. They delivered. They delivered, man. I was like, yo, I'm gonna walk around for the next week. My English accent, yo.
Hmm. I
Top
started
Boy
Top
was
Boy
so
a
good.
long time ago, and I never finished that first one.
It's
First
such
season.
it's those two guys. Ashley, I forget his name, plays Duchesne, and I don't remember the guy's name that plays Sully. But everything they do, they act well in. And I mean, I've been a stickler on British actors playing American actors, but when the British guys and women are doing their thing in their space, which is their place in London, etc., it's just phenomenal, man. The writing, the emotion, the you really feel like this is what it is. And Top Boy is compelling, man. It's like The Wire in London. It's it's less violent, but it's just dope, man. It's just well done, and season 2 delivered, completely
Good.
delivered.
Yeah, it's still on my Netflix as my on my list. I started the first episode, and I assume it starts well. To me, it started slow, so maybe that was maybe that's why I just stopped, or I don't remember, but it just wasn't. It didn't make it to the watch now category, but I'll get
Mhm.
to it.
Yeah. Other than that, man,
You
I
caught up on
haven't.
Power?
Yeah, I watched last night's episode of Force.
I didn't
It was
see last night's yet, but
yeah, I didn't. I'm not feeling it too much. Like
I
after
thought
last
so.
week into this one, I was like,
Yeah, last week's was good too.
this one.
Last
I
week,
mean, this one sets the table. I think they're building to a great arc, and a great first season ending whenever it ends. But last night was a little. I wonder who wrote that and who directed that, because it was when you see it, you'll
filler.
you'll you'll let me you'll figure out where I'm coming from with it, in the tone of what is happening.
Yeah, it's
Um,
probably a filler episode, but I'll watch it. I'm gonna
it's
watch it today.
certainly a filler episode, but it's just the things that happen was just like, why, and those are the type of episodes that make me question, like, who who's in the room. You know what I mean? Like, when do people give you their honest opinion on shit? Like, because it's just shit that happens in these episodes. I'm like, why would this person, knowing who he is, and the character we've known him to be or her to be, why would they proceed this way? You
Yeah,
know what I mean? So it's just kind of crazy to me, how that always happens. But like my mother always says, it's written in the script, so we got to go with it. But other than that, man, I think that's pretty much been it for me that I can think of as far as anything new.
cool. I got caught up on, or I'm sorry, I'm catching up on, and got caught out on Bel Air.
Ah, yeah,
Uh,
watch that too.
so I fell asleep on it last night. I'm freaking exhausted, but um, I'm getting caught up. I'm at a point, so I'm right at the point now. At I think it was episode 4 was the episode where Will finally made the basketball team, or yeah,
Hmm.
where he makes the basketball team, hits the game
Hmm.
winning shot. And now you could see Carlton still getting even more and more jealous, and feeling like his family and his life is being taken away from him. Um, so that's where I'm at right now, and I plan to finish that by next pod for sure.
Yeah, gotta catch up. I just caught the last episode. It's been solid, man. It's been solid, and the last episode was pretty cool. For a couple
Was
of
it was
cameos.
that a season finale or
I don't think so. I don't think
okay?
so. But it was a couple of cool cameos that you'll appreciate, I think, when you get there. So
Okay. So I mean, I've been watching that. I've been still meaning to finish upload, which I haven't had a chance to. Um,
I gotta
but
start it. I haven't started it.
yeah, season 2 is out now. Of that, but I mean, watch season 1. Season 1 is phenomenal, right? I thought they did amazing with season 1 on upload. And then season 2, I've done 3. I've gone through 3 episodes. They're only 30-minute episodes. So
Mm,
when you're on a show that's only 30 minutes, you get through that quick when you binge it.
mm.
Um but it's a interesting concept, and it's funny. And at the same time it makes you be like, damn, this would be some dope shit if they could figure this out. So yeah, you should definitely give it a shot. Give that a shot.
Has my guy's little brother in there, Robbie Amel. Uh, his older brother is Arrow. Not Rob. I can't
Oh, you
remember.
did say that. Yeah. We
Yeah,
talked about that.
Steven Amell. Yeah,
Yeah, and he's good. His brother, I mean, he does a good job, man. I think he does a good job acting in that
yeah.
show.
They're both solid actors, man. They're both solid actors. I like both those guys. So I'm gonna have to catch that. I'm gonna have to catch that for sure. There's a new movie on Amazon called Master. Has I think it's Regina, one of them Reginas. one of them
Oh,
Reginas.
Regina Hall, right?
Regina
That's the
Hall,
the
yeah.
funny one that was in like Scary Movie.
Yeah. That's
I
my
saw
baby.
that.
Did you watch it?
No, I didn't
no,
watch
you
the
saw
show.
it.
I saw the
Okay,
preview.
okay. I wanted to say, I didn't realize she's from DC. She's 51 years old, dog. Jesus Christ.
She all
Black
right
and
for
crack
51.
boy. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ. Make no
she been
sense.
around. I mean, remember she was in Don't Be a Menace. She
Yeah,
goes
it's
back.
been a minute. It's been a minute, man.
I think she was in
Jesus.
Don't Be a Menace, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the thing about the Waynes, man. Like, they keep you around because they
Yeah, they
took
put
they
out.
took it from that to Scary Movie, and that's a long time ago, man. That was a
I like her,
long
man.
time ago.
I like
Yeah, I
her.
want to see what that's talking about though.
She got a nice mouth. Like not. That sounded bad. But she knows how. She got a distinctive. She got good teeth. She got nice teeth. That's what I was meaning to say. Oh, thank goodness we're past 2 hours already.
You gotta get the Bel Air theme song to play when you say wild shit. That little church chorus joint. Yo, you're wild, yo. She's 51 though, man. Jeez.
Look at her smile, though. That's what I mean. Like,
Between her, Taraji, who
I
am I
can get
missing?
past Taraji.
Nia.
Nia's good. I can get past Taraji, but
It's just something about
one,
her, though. I love her.
yeah,
Something
it's
about
her.
her.
I'm telling you, it's her smile, it's her mouth.
Oh yeah, Regina's bad, man. She's bad. She's bad for sure. She's bad.
Cheekbones. She got high cheekbones.
Queen Latifah continues to deliver on
I ain't fucking with you, dog. I'm done with that.
Shout out to her.
That shit is trash. She's a horror. She's horrible, dog. The one thing I could say though, and I give Queen Latifah her props. She was terrible, and she's terrible. She's a horrible actress. But she's gotten better. She's not like Mary J, who Mary J was just as bad in season 2 of Ghost as she was in part 1 or season 1 or whatever they want to call it. Like, she didn't get any better from the first episode to the last episode. Mary J was just ass. At least Queen Latifah's gotten better.
Disagree. I love them both. You're terrible.
I love Mary J.
Hopefully we become friends of the pod. Not like that. Talking like that. No, you're talking crazy. Talking crazy.
I do love Mary J. I just think she has a lane, and acting is not it. I said what I said. If I hear her say that one more time, like this, almost
black people can't appreciate nothing. That's
every
her character.
episode. Every episode
she does.
No, it's fake. All right. You want to do VP's rendition?
Hey everybody. Listen out there in the world. We thank you for joining us for the last couple hours. All that good stuff. Continue to follow us, man. Like, share, subscribe. Follow us on IG. Follow us on Twitter, even though VP isn't as active as he's supposed to be. Just we appreciate you guys, man, and appreciate those that are listening. We greatly appreciate the shares and the follows and the opinions. And yeah, man, God willing, we'll keep it going, and we'll be back next week. Hopefully full crew, because we know VP is gonna have a lot of shit to say, being that we bashed his president for nearly an hour. And we gonna do it here, like those people that say we're too left. Hey, well, here you go, something for everybody. So we thank you, and good night.